Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Sandal College Boys Section Online Class 8. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Here is Akhtar Saeed, your English teacher, with another important lecture on the textbook. That is Unit number 1, Text 2, the poem The Newcomer, composed by Brian Patten, that is on the page number 16 of your textbooks. Dear students, before embarking on the poem, I would like to tell you something about the poet Brian Patten. Dear students, Brian Patten was born in 1946 in Liverpool, England. He left school at 15 and joined a newspaper to write a column about popular music. Through this column, he met other poets and made a name for himself as a poet. He has written many collections of poems for adults as well as children and has made them immediately accessible to a wide audience by reading them himself in live performances. Patten's poems are a mix between the serious and the humorous, यानी उसने मज़ाहिया और संजीदा दोनों अंदाज की पोइट्री की है, जिसकी वजह से ये बड़े लोगों में और बच्चों में एक तरह से पॉपुलर हैं. They have been translated into many European languages. His most popular collections include Gargling with Jelly, a collection of poems 1985, The Blue and Green Ark, An Alphabet for Planet Earth 1999, and Juggling with Gerbils 2000. Now, dear students, I would like to discuss the theme of the poem The Newcomer, composed by Brian Patten. Dear students, in this poem, Brian Patten presents an animal kingdom where different animals are talking that an unknown creature has come to the forest. It has no feathers, no paws, no fins, no gills, yet it can fly in the air, swim in water, live in trees, soil and mountains, but it hurts, hunts and kills animals. That is why all the animals are frightened. Actually, they are talking about human beings. Dear students, वो ये जो जानवर हैं ये तमाम इंसान के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं कि कोई क्रीचर आ गई है, नई कोई मखलूक आ गई है. वो वैसे तो उसमें बहुत सारी क्वालिटीज़ हैं, लेकिन वो जानवरों को ज़ख्मी कर देते हैं, उनका शिकार कर देते हैं और उन्हें हत्ता के जान से भी मार देते हैं. On the one hand, they are appreciating the qualities of human beings, but at the same time, they criticize us, I mean the human beings, for being cruel to the animals. The poet gives us a message that we should not hurt, hunt, or kill animals. Rather, we should let them live the way they want to live. Now, let's discuss the poem. Dear students, in the opening lines, the poet says, "There is something new in the river," the fish said as it swam. The poet presents a fish in the opening lines of the poem that is discussing something. The fish that is swimming in the waters of the river, it says that it has seen some new creature that has come into the waters of the river. The fish says it's got no scales. Scales means bony plate on a fish, that is actually the protective wall of the fish. No fins. Fins means swimming organs with the help of which a fish swims in the waters, and no gills. Gills means breathing organs. With the help of these organs, the fish breathes in the water. The fish says this new creature has no scales, no fins and no gills, but it can swim very fast in the water. And this new creature ignores the impassable dam. Impossible, impossible to cross. Ignore, does not care. This new creature does not care for the difficulties of the dam. It means this new creature can cross this dam very easily and goes to the other side of the dam. Actually, this fish is praising the qualities of this new creature. This new creature is the human being. The fish does not know who this creature is, but it is actually the human being. The poet says that the human being can swim into the depths of the waters. Now move towards the next stanza. There is something new in the trees. I heard a bloated. Bloated means swollen, phula hua, thrush sing. Thrush is a songbird, as you can see in this picture. Thrush is a very beautiful bird, songbird. Its voice is very sweet and melodious. It sings sweet and melodious songs. This thrush says it's got no beak, no claws, and no feathers. It is also talking about a new creature. This is actually the human being. Human being does not have beak, claws and feathers like those of birds. But the thrush says, and not even the ghost of a wing. Even the ghost of means not the slightest trace of. It has no wing. That's why it cannot fly. But this human being, this new creature that has no beak, no claws, no feathers and no wing, but it can fly in the air. The thrush is surprised to see this new creature and does not have anything like those of birds, but this new creature that is actually the human being that can fly in the air. There is something new in the warren. Warren is actually place for rabbits. As you can see a lot of rabbits here. Rabbits dig into the earth, make a hole and live in that hole. That is called warren. It is also called burrow. The rabbits live in warren. That warren is, as I have already told you, place for rabbits. Said the rabbit to the doe. Doe is female deer. This is the rabbit and this is doe. Here this rabbit is talking with this doe. What does it says to the doe? Let's see that. It's got no fur. As you can see, there is fur on the rabbits, no eyes and no paws. The rabbit is very much surprised that this new creature does not have any fur, eyes or paws like those of the rabbits, yet digs further than we dare go. Dare means courage to do something. As I have told you that rabbits dig into the earth and live there, but it is appreciating the quality of this new creature that is actually the human beings. As you know, human being can dig deeper than any other animal. They are surprised to see that this new creature has no paws, eyes or fur, but it can dig deeper than the rabbits. Let's move towards the next stanza. There is something new in the whiteness. Whiteness is where there is a lot of snowfall on the mountains. Dear students, you might have visited Murray, and when there is snowfall, all the mountains are fully covered with snow. That is called whiteness. Said the snow bright polar bear. There is a polar bear. Actually, the poet here presents a polar bear, and this polar bear says, I saw its shadow on the glacier. Glacier means large body of snow. Where there is a lot of snow, that becomes glacier. But it left no paw marks there. Paw marks made by the paws. The polar bear is very much surprised that he has seen some new creature on the glacier. It can go anywhere, but there are no paw marks of the new creature. Actually, he is appreciating the qualities of this new creature. This new creature is actually the human being. The human beings, as you know, can go anywhere in the world. They can go to the highest peaks of the world like K2 and Mount Everest. They can also go to the glacier, as we have the Siachen Glacier in Pakistan. Human beings can go anywhere. They are surprised. All the animals, birds are very much surprised to see this new creature that has come to their kingdom, to their world. This new creature has a lot of qualities, and these birds, animals are appreciating the qualities of human beings. Now, dear students, the last stanza. Here the poet says, through the animal kingdom. Animal kingdom, a world, a place where a lot of animals live. यानी जानवरों की दुनिया, जानवरों की सल्तनत. The news was spreading fast. The news about the arrival, about the coming of a new creature, this new creature actually the human being. All the animals are talking about this new creature. They do not know who this new creature is or what this new creature is, but they are surprised to see that this new creature can do anything. It can fly in the air, it can swim in the waters, it can live on the soil. But this new creature has no beak, no claws, no feather, no scales, no fur, no gills. This new creature, that is actually the human being, has no beak, no claws, no feathers, no scales, no fur, and no gills like those of birds, fish, and animals. But it lives in the trees and the water, in the soil. Soil means earth, and the snow and the hills. This human being, this new creature, does not have anything like those of birds and animals, but it can live in the trees, it can swim into the depths of the oceans and rivers, it can also live on the soil, it can go on the snow mountains and the hills. They are appreciating the qualities of human beings. They are surprised to see this new creature because they do not know what this new creature is, who this new creature is. But at the same time, all the animals are worried. All the animals are disturbed. They are frightened and horrified to see this new creature because this new creature, and it kills and it kills and it kills. This new creature has come there and it hurts the animals, it hunts the animals, and it's even kills the animals. ये जो जानवर हैं, परिंदे हैं और पानी में रहने वाले जो जानवर हैं, वो बड़े परेशान हैं कि ये जो नई मखलूक आ गई है, ये उनका शिकार करती है, उनको ज़ख्मी करती है और उनको इवन मार भी देती है. Through this poem, the poet brings before us 2 points. Number one, he appreciates the qualities and characteristics of human beings, that human beings can swim into the depths of the oceans and rivers, it can fly in the heights of the sky, and it can go to the peaks of the highest mountains of the world, and it can live anywhere on the soil. It has a lot of qualities. There is the second point, that is the negativity of human being. We, the human beings, sometimes hurt the animals, hunt the animals, and kill the animals. The poet wants to give us a message that we should not do anything harmful for the animals. Rather, we should let them live the they want to live. The poet has used very simple words, but at the same time, he has used such words which create a sweetness and music in the poem. That's why this poem has become everlasting and very popular in the world. Now, the exercises of the poem The Newcomer. We'll start with part A. Part A is understanding the poem. Question number 1 of part A, that is, answer the following questions. We'll start with A. How do the animals feel about the newcomer? What do you think is the main emotion in the poem? How do the animals feel about the newcomer? What do you think is the main emotion in the poem? And the answer is, none of the animals is happy about the newcomer. They want to warn one another as soon as possible. The main emotion in the poem is fear. Once again, none of the animals is happy about the newcomer. This newcomer actually is the human being, and all the birds and animals are afraid of this human being. They want to warn one another as soon as possible. The main emotion in the poem is fear. Now let's move towards the next question, that is B. There are a lot of negatives in this poem. What is the effect of the word no repeated again and again? There are a lot of negatives in this poem. What is the effect of the word no repeated again and again? The answer is the repetition of the word no creates an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, and suspicion in the poem. The repetition of the word no creates an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, and suspicion in the poem. Now let's move towards the next question. Now part C. What is meant by not even the ghost of a wink? The answer is, it means that the new creature, that is the human being, has no wings, so it cannot fly. It is the view of the birds that this human being cannot fly, but actually, dear students, you know human beings can fly in the air. D. What do the humans do in the river and in the warren? What do these actions tell us about the abilities of humans? What do the humans do in the river and in the warren? What do these actions tell us about the abilities of humans? The answer is a bit lengthy answer. In the river, the humans ignore the impassable dam. The fish cannot go there, but humans pass this impassable dam, cross this impassable dam. In the warren, they dig deeper than the animals dare go. These actions suggest that they have the abilities beyond those of other animals. In the river, the humans ignore the impassable dam. In the warren, they dig deeper than the animals dare go. These actions suggest that they have the abilities beyond those of other animals. Actually, dear students, यहाँ ये बताना मकसूद है कि इंसानों के पास जो काबिलियत है, उनके पास जो सलाहियतें हैं, वो जानवरों और परिंदों की निस्बत बहुत ज़्यादा हैं और इंसान बहुत ज़्यादा काबिलियत रखता है. E. Do you think that this poem is fair to human beings? Do you think that this poem is fair to human beings? I think this poem is fair to human beings. It appreciates the qualities of human beings, but it also suggests that we should take care of animals. I think this poem is fair to human beings. It appreciates the qualities of human beings, but it also suggests that we should take care of animals. Now, dear students, last but not the least, F. Can you imagine a world in which humanity does not kill and kill and kill? You know, this is the last line of the poem, The Newcomer. Kill and kill and kill. What would this world be like? Discuss in your class whether this would be a better world. Can you imagine a world in which humanity does not kill and kill and kill? What would this world be like? Discuss in your class whether this would be a better world. The answer is, the world would be a better place if the humanity does not kill and kill and kill. Sometimes killing animals is necessary for food, but killing for the sake of power and supremacy is horrible and must be stopped. The world would be a better place if the humanity does not kill and kill and kill. Sometimes killing animals is necessary for food, but killing for the sake of power and supremacy is horrible and must be stopped. Here comes question number 2 of part A of the exercises. Question number 2 is, answer the following with reference to context. This question is very interesting, especially for those students who have studied the text of the lesson very minutely, because they know all the answers. Rather, they enjoy this question. Here comes a verse. There is something new in the whiteness. This verse has been taken from the poem The Newcomer. Now there are certain questions and we are to answer these questions with reference to this line. There is something new in the whiteness. Here comes the first question, that is A. Who says these words and to whom? Just imagine there are two questions in this question. Who says these words? Question number 1. Question number 2 is and to whom? Now we try to guess the answer. We can guess the answer from this word whiteness. You know, whiteness is a huge mass of snow on the mountains. And who lives in the snowy mountains? Just imagine the bear. Yes, the polar bear. The polar bear says this to the other animals. The polar bear says this to the other animals. Now, question B. What else does the speaker say? Who is this speaker? The polar bear. So the question is, what else does the polar bear say? The polar bear says that he saw the newcomer's shadow on a glacier, but it left no paw marks there. The polar bear says that he saw the newcomer's shadow on a glacier, but it left no paw marks there. Now let's move towards the next question, that is C. What was the something new that the speaker saw? What was that thing the speaker saw? I mean the polar bear saw. That was, the something new was a human being. The something new was a human being. Now D. Who else heard this news? Who else heard this news? The whole of the animal kingdom heard this news. The whole of the animal kingdom heard this news. I mean, all the animals living in the river, they know that a new creature has come. All the birds know that a new creature has come. And all the other animals living in the forest know that a new creature has come. And this new creature is actually the human being. And they are very much frightened to see this new creature, the human being, because they feel that this new creature kills and kills and kills. Now let's move towards the next question. Now, dear students, here comes question number 3. Question number 3 is, describe briefly in your own words how the news about the newcomer spreads. By what means does the poet create the idea that fear is being spread through the animal kingdom? A bit lengthy question, so the answer may also be lengthy likewise. I read it once again. Describe briefly in your own words how the news about the newcomer spreads. By what means does the poet create the idea that fear is being spread through the animal kingdom? Here comes the answer. The fish tells the news to the animals in the water. So, you know, dear students, fish lives in the water, so it tells all the other animals living in water about the arrival of the newcomer. The thrush. As you know, thrush is a songbird. It is famous for its melodious and sweet voice and songs. It is a bird, so the thrush tells this to birds. It tells the other birds that a new creature has come to their kingdom. A rabbit tells this to the animals in the jungle. Rabbit tells all the other animals living in the jungle, living in the forest, that a new creature has come, a stranger has come to the forest. A polar bear tells this to other animals in the animal kingdom. So, dear students, all the animals and birds living in the water, in the trees and in the forest and in the snowy mountains, all the animals and birds know that a new stranger has come there, that a new creature has come to their world, and they are very much frightened and they are very much horrified and terrified because they believe that this new creature, that is actually the human being, kills and kills and kills. The news is spread that a stranger has appeared. It actually refers to the human being. By the repeated use of no, the poet creates the idea that fear is being spread through the animal kingdom. I read it once again. The fish tells the news to animals in the water, the thrush tells this to birds, a rabbit tells this to the animals in the jungle, a polar bear tells this to other animals in the animal kingdom. The news is spread that a stranger has appeared. It actually refers to the human being. By the repeated use of no, the poet creates the idea that fear is being spread through the animal kingdom. Now part B. Part B is working with words. Do you remember reading about similes and metaphors? As you know, we have already discussed similes and metaphors. Today, I'll once again discuss similes and metaphors so that you may be able to understand the concept of the definition of similes and metaphors. So first of all, simile. What is a simile? When we compare two things by using the words like or as, it is known as a simile. A simile is a form of comparison. For example, as cool as cucumber or as beautiful as a rose. These are called similes. We used as, and here as and as. Now, metaphor. What is a metaphor? When we compare two things without using the words like or as, or when we say that something is something else, it is known as a metaphor. A metaphor is a form of comparison. For example, Tipu Sultan was a lion. Tipu Sultan was a man. Lion is an animal. But actually we want to say that Tipu Sultan was as brave as a lion. When we say one thing is exactly to be another, it is called metaphor. As we said, Tipu Sultan was a lion. Babar Azam is a star. Babar Azam is a human being and star is a heavenly body. But here it means Babar Azam is a great person, is a great player. It is metaphor. Babar Azam is a star. As here are two pictures, I can give you the example so that you may be able to understand the difference between a simile and a metaphor. When I say this rabbit is as beautiful as this doe, it is a simile. When I say this rabbit is a doe, it is a metaphor. So this is the difference between simile and metaphor. In simile we use like or as. In metaphor we do not use like or as. Both show comparisons. Now let's move towards the question. Question number 1 of part B. Question number 1 is, in the poem you will find a metaphor. Can you say what it is? There is a metaphor used in the poem. Just try to remember. What is that metaphor? That is the ghost of a wing. The metaphor that has been used in the poem The Newcomer is the ghost of a wing. Now question number 2. Question number 2 is about silent letters. Dear students, silent letters are a part of a word but they are not pronounced. That's why they are called silent letters. Now note the words that contain silent letters. It is high. In this word high, GH is silent. You know we do not pronounce GH in this word high. Now these are the words and we are to tell which letters are silent in these words. Ghost, whiteness, bright, through. First one is ghost. Just guess which letter is silent in this word. That is H. You can underline it. Ghost, H is silent here. Whiteness. Just guess which letter is silent in the word whiteness. It is H. H is silent in whiteness. H is not pronounced in this word whiteness. Bright. GH are two letters which are silent in this word bright. GH are silent here. through, through, GH. These are the two letters which are silent, I mean which are not pronounced in the word through. Ghost, whiteness, bright, through. H is silent here in ghost. Again H is silent in whiteness. GH are the two letters which are silent in bright. GH again are two letters which are silent in through. Now let's move towards the next question, that is question number 3. Note the silent letters in the following. Here is a list of words and we are to tell which letters are silent in these words. Calm, hymn, subtle, rain. In calm, can you tell me which letter is silent? That is L. L is silent in calm. Hymn. In hymn, N is silent. Hymn. It is not hymn. Hymn. This is subtle. B is silent here. That's why we pronounce it as subtle. It is not subtle. 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 Rain. GA is silent here. We do not pronounce it as region. It is actually rain. Rain. Calm, hymn, subtle, rain. Now, dear students, question number 4. Question number 4 is very interesting again. Put the words from the list below into 4 columns according to the silent letters. Here is a list of the words and we'll find which letters are silent in these words. First one is arms. It is not alms, arms. L is silent here. Dear students, alms means money or food given to the poor people. Charity, you may also say. Alms, money or food given to the poor people. Alms. L is silent here. Feign. In feign, G is silent. You can underline it. Feign. It means pretend. Bahana karna, jhoot moot, bahana banana koi. Yolk. Yolk. L is silent here. Yolk. It means yellow part of the egg. अंडे की जर्दी को yolk कहते हैं. Damned. Damned. N is silent here. It is not damned. Damned. Its meaning is punished by God in hell forever. Damned. सजा मिलना अल्लाह की तरफ से. Sometimes we use this word in frustration. I damn care. Subtle. Subtle. B is silent here. Subtle. It is not subtle. Subtle means fine, precise. Autumn. Autumn. N is silent here. You know it is a season. Autumn. मौसम खिज़ां. Should. It is not should. Should. L is silent here. Debt. Debt. B is silent here. You may say loan, karza, debt. Hymn. N is silent here. It is a piece of poetry in praise of Allah Almighty. Hymn. Hamd को भी कहा जा सकता है उर्दू में. Hymn. It is not hymn. Hymn. Column. N is silent here. It is not column. Column. It is pillar or post. Column. And an article that is written in the newspapers, that may also be called column. Pillar or post. Dumb. It is not dumb. Dumb. B is silent here. A person who is unable to speak is called dumb. Palm. L is silent here. Palm, you know it is a tree. Palm. Plumber. B is silent here. It is not plumber. Plumber. B is silent here. Plumber is a person who repairs taps or water pipes, etc. Almond. L is silent here. Almond. Almond. It is eatable. Resign. Resign. G is silent here. Resign. To quit some job. To leave some job. Resign. Salmon. L is silent here. Salmon. It is a name of a fish. Salmon. It is not salmon. Salmon. Condemn. N is silent here. Condemn. it means criticize or to rebuke, condemn. Foreign, G is silent here. Foreign, it means of some other country. Numb, B is silent here. Numb, it means senseless, senseless. Doubt, here again B is silent. Doubt, to have some suspicion, कुछ शक करना, कुछ शक होना. So now let's move towards the next question. Question number 5. Question number 5 is, find the words in the poem which have a similar meaning to the following. Here is a list of words and we'll find the meanings of these words from the poem. Obliterate, it means kill. Obliterate, kill. Impenetrable, impenetrable, impassable, unable to cross something. Impenetrable, impassable. Airing, airing means spreading, like spreading a news or rumor, etc. Trace, trace means shadow. These are the words which have been taken from the poem. Make bold, make bold means dare. Jurat karna, hausla karna, to have some courage to do something. Make bold. Swollen, swollen means bloated. We read in the poem bloated thrush, bloated singing word. Swollen, phula hua. Disregards, disregards, ignores, to take no care for something. That means ignore, nazarandaz karna. Obliterate, kill. Impenetrable, impassable. Airing, spreading. Trace, shadow. Make bold, dare. Swollen, bloated. And last but not the least, disregards, ignores. Part C. Part C is learning about language. Dear students, today we will discuss clauses. I would like to define what clauses are. Clauses are groups of words containing both subject and predicate. Dear students, before going on, I would like to tell you what a subject is and what a predicate is in a clause. Subject is a part of a sentence that contains the person or thing performing the action in a sentence. So the subject is actually the doer of the action. You may also call that subject is an actor that performs something. For example, Aliyan writes a letter. In this sentence, Aliyan is a subject because Aliyan is doing something. He is an actor. What he is doing? Writing a letter. Aliyan writes a letter. So Aliyan, that is the doer of the action, is called subject. Now predicate. Predicate is a part of a sentence or a clause that tells what the subject is doing. Actually, what the action done by the subject is called predicate. The same is a sentence again here. Aliyan writes a letter. In this clause, in this sentence, writes a letter is a predicate because this is the action done by the subject Aliyan. So Aliyan is a subject and writes a letter is a predicate. Now once again we discuss what clauses are. I hope now you can understand clauses better. Clauses are groups of words containing both subject and predicate. Almost all sentences contain at least one clause. When a clause stands on its own, we call this a sentence. This is a clause because it stands on its own. It is a complete sentence. This sentence conveys the complete meaning, so this clause can be called a sentence. However, a clause is usually part of another sentence since it qualifies some word or words in that sentence. Page number 19. Here are some sentences which consist of a single clause. That boy is my brother. Silently the ship left the harbor. She can read a book. All these sentences are clauses because all these sentences can stand on their own. They convey the complete meaning. Now question number 1. What is the question? Notice that each clause, these clauses, has a subject and a predicate. Can you divide the sentences above into subject and predicate? That boy is my brother. Can you tell me what is a subject in this clause? Yes, that boy. That boy is a subject. You can underline it and you can write subject over it. Is my brother is predicate. Is my brother is telling something about this subject, that boy. That's why it is predicate. Silently the ship left the harbor. Silently the ship left the harbor. Can you tell me what is a subject here? Keep it in mind, it is not necessary that the subject is always in the beginning of the sentence. Actually, we should see what is the person or thing that is doing something. Here the ship is a subject that is doing something. The ship left the harbor. What is its action? The action of the subject is that the ship left the harbor. So left the harbor is the predicate. The subject is the ship, and the rest of the sentence, silently left the harbor, is the predicate of this clause. She can read a book. Can you tell me what is the subject here? Yes, she. She is the subject here because she is doing something. What she is doing? She can read a book. Can read a book is a predicate. So she is a subject and can read a book is predicate. Now let's move towards the next question. Dear students, now let's move a step further. Longer sentences have more than one clause. They may contain a main clause and a subordinate clause. Main clauses do not depend on any other clause. They are also called independent clauses. They can stand by themselves as independent clauses. Now let's see some examples. That boy is my brother and this girl is my sister. It is a complete sentence. This sentence has two clauses. That boy is my brother, and the second clause is this girl is my sister. If you remove either of the clause, the other clause conveys the complete meaning. For example, if you remove that boy is my brother, अगर आप इसको हटा दें this girl is my sister, ये हमें complete meaning convey करती है, इसलिए आप इसको independent clause कह सकते हैं. That boy is my brother is also an independent clause. She can read a book or she can write a letter. Again, both clauses are independent clauses. She can read a book. If you remove this clause, the other clause, she can write a letter, that conveys the complete meaning. That's why this clause is called independent clause. She can read a book is also an independent clause. If two independent clauses are joined in one sentence, they may also be called coordinating clauses, and the words like and are joining these two clauses. They are called conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions. Now dear students, let's see what is a main clause or independent clause and what is the subordinate clause. The man left the room before the guests arrived. The man left the room is the main clause or the independent clause. Before the guests arrived is a subordinate clause. इसको subordinate clause क्यों कहते हैं? क्योंकि अगर आप इस सेंटेंस को रिमूव कर दें the man left the room, तो ये जो clause है ये complete meaning convey नहीं करती. Before the guests arrived, तो guests के आने से पहले क्या हुआ हमें नहीं पता, इसलिए ये subordinate clause है. The man left the room ये main clause इसलिए है कि अगर आप इस clause को हटा भी दें, remove भी कर दें, तो ये वाली clause complete meaning convey करती है, इसलिए आप इसको main clause या independent clause कह सकते हैं. They saw the man who stole the car. They saw the man is the main clause. Who stole the car? It is a subordinate clause. We may get some help is a main clause. If the man arrive, it is the subordinate clause. She went to the park is the main clause or independent clause. When the sun began to shine is a subordinate clause, because if you remove this clause, she went to the park, this clause does not convey the complete meaning. That's why it is a subordinate clause. Though this clause has a subject, the sun began to shine is the predicate, yet it is subordinate clause because it depends upon the other clause to convey its complete meaning. She went to the park is the main clause, because if you remove this clause, since it conveys the complete meaning, she went to the park, ये हमें complete meaning convey करता है, इसलिए इस part को आप main clause या independent clause कह सकते हैं. Question number 2. Question number 2 is underline the main clauses in the following sentences. Very interesting question. Here come the sentences from A to J. We are to underline the main clauses in these sentences. The first one is A. The children went to the park after they had their lunch. Can you tell me what is the main clause here? The children went to the park is the main clause. You can also call it independent clause. The main clause is the clause that can stand on its own, and subordinate clause is the clause that does not stand its own. For example, if you remove this clause, the children went to the park, the other clause, after they had their lunch, does not convey its meaning. It depends upon the main clause to complete its meaning. So it is a subordinate clause or dependent clause. B. Maham went to the library though she didn't want to. Can you tell me what is the main clause here? Maham went to the library is the main clause, is the independent clause, because even if you remove this clause, it conveys the complete meaning. Maham went to the library. But if you remove this clause, Maham went to the library, this clause, though she didn't want to, does not convey complete meaning. It depends upon the main clause to complete its meaning. C. We stopped at the town where my father was born. Can you tell me what is the main clause? We stopped at the town is the main clause, and where my father was born is the subordinate clause. Now D. When the sun came out, the boys went out to play football. Can you tell me what is the main clause? And dear students, always keep it in mind that main clause is not necessary as in the beginning. It can be after the subordinate clause, as this is the example. When the sun came out is not a complete sentence. It is a subordinate clause. The boys went out to play football is the main clause, because if you remove this clause, the boys went out to play football, this clause, when the sun came out, does not convey its complete meaning. It depends upon the main clause to complete the meaning. E. After the play was over, the actors met the children. What is the main clause? The actors met the children is the main clause, and after the play was over is the subordinate clause, because it depends upon the other clause to complete the meaning. If you remove this clause, after the play was over, this clause conveys its complete meaning. What is that? The actors met the children. That's why it is independent clause or main clause. He came when I called. What is the main clause? He came. In this sentence, he came is the main clause, and when I called is the subordinate clause or dependent clause. G. The man went where I asked him to go. In this sentence, the man went is the main clause. H. The trees died because there was no rain. In this sentence, the trees died is the main clause. The trees is the subject, died is the predicate. You know, a clause has two parts, subject and predicate. Because there was no rain is the subordinate clause. I. If Amar comes, we shall all go to the park. What is the main clause? We shall go to the park is the main clause. If Amar comes is the subordinate clause. Last but not the least, J. The policeman arrested the men who broke into the shop. Can you tell me what is the main clause, what is the independent clause? That is, the policeman arrested the men. It is the main clause. Who broke into the shop is the subordinate clause. Main clause conveys its complete meaning and subordinate clause never conveys its complete meaning. So here in this part of the sentence, the policeman arrested the men is the main clause. That's all of today's lecture, dear students. Dear students, this is the complete lecture on the poem The Newcomer. First with the complete paraphrasing and the explanation of the poem, then complete solution to all the exercises. How do you rate this humble effort of mine? Please leave your comments below. If you have any question, if you have any problem, you may also comment in the comment section below. I'll inshallah be there to answer your questions. Till some next lecture, take a very good care of yourselves and your dear ones. Thank you very much.